Hello students, welcome to the POL.SCIENCE of class 12 arts, and today we will further proceed discussing about the political scenario during the Congress system from the year 1947 onwards. So in the previous class we studied and discussed about the Congress system starting from the challenges related to political succession when Jawaharlal Nehru suddenly expired in the year 1964, and there was a big question of who will overtake or succeed Jawaharlal Nehru. So that very moment, Lal Bahadur Shastri, who was then the cabinet minister under Nehru's cabinet, was chosen as the country's next, and you can say as the second Prime Minister of India. So why he was chosen? It was because of his non-controversial character, because he was a very non-controversial leader, and along with that he was also the cabinet minister in Nehru's cabinet for many years. So during the last days of Nehru, he had to depend a lot on him in his last year. That means Nehru steadily started to depend a lot on him during his last few years. So he was chosen as the country's next prime minister, and he was in that position for not a long time, but he was in that position from 1964 till 1966. And finally Lal Bahadur Shastri expired on 10th January 1966 in Tashkent. So we had completed in the previous class up to here. So today we will discuss from the next point related to the topic Congress system from Shastri to Indira Gandhi. So let us proceed then. The Congress party faced the challenge of political succession for the second time after the death of Lal Bahadur Shastri, with an intense competition between Morarji Desai and Indira Gandhi to resolve through a secret ballot among Congress MPs. Clear? So that means when Congress started ruling the country and the people had voted Congress with a huge majority from the year 1951 when the first general elections were held, from that time to 1964, that means till the death of Nehru, it was all going good for the Congress. But suddenly after the death of Nehru, there was a turmoil in between the Congress, that who will take the leadership, because Jawaharlal Nehru was a very capable leader and also a very adorable Prime Minister of India. So after that, Lal Bahadur Shastri took as the Prime Minister of India, and suddenly Lal Bahadur Shastri also expired within 3 years of taking that position. So after this again the situation was like the same. That means after Lal Bahadur Shastri, who will take the country's position of being the third Prime Minister of India. So regarding this only, there was a tough competition between whom? Between Indira Gandhi and between Morarji Desai. And these two were very capable leader in Congress. So you can say that Morarji Desai was also very much capable, and along with that Indira Gandhi was also very much capable in between the Congress. So these two leaders had their separate followers within the party only. So their followers were supporting Morarji Desai, whereas Indira Gandhi's followers were supporting Indira Gandhi herself. So in order to solve this issue, the Congress within themselves started voting through a secret ballot box. That means all the members, suppose there are 200 members in the Congress, or you can say suppose there are 200 to 300 members in the Congress. So what they will do, they were being instructed to cast their vote secretly in favor of any of the parties contestant, that is either for Morarji Desai or either for Indira Gandhi through a secret ballot system. That means their vote will be counted, but who voted for whom, that will not be given publicly. So that will be kept confidentially. That who has voted for whom, that will not be told out in public, but their voting will be counted. So they hold a secret ballot voting system among the Congress MPs. Whoever were the Congress MPs at that time, they voted secretly through a secret ballot box, either for Morarji Desai or Indira Gandhi. So after that, Indira Gandhi defeated Morarji Desai, and a peaceful transition of power was seen as a sign of maturity of India's democracy. So, whatever the secret ballot system voting was done in between the Congress MPs, and that was done within their party. So, through that secret ballot voting system, what was the result? What was the outcome then? Indira Gandhi defeated Morarji Desai. Suppose 200 MPs or 150 MPs were there. So you assume that more than 100 MPs voted in favor of Indira Gandhi. So in that way, Indira Gandhi was able to defeat Morarji Desai. And as a result, both the leaders accepted. One leader accepted the majority of win, and the other leaders accepted his defeat. And this was actually a sign of maturity that was shown by both the leaders. And that is very much necessary also in the form of democratic process, because one needs to accept his or her loss and the other needs to accept his win. So this was being shown as the sign of maturity in India's democracy. Clear? So after Lal Bahadur Shastri, Indira Gandhi took over as the next Prime Minister of India. So after this comes the fourth general election, that it was in the year 1967, just 1 year after the death of Lal Bahadur Shastri. So the year 1967 was a landmark year in India's political and electoral history. It was not in favor of the Congress, and this was why this was the turning point, and why this fourth general election of 1967 is called as the landmark year in India's political and electoral history, because it was not in favor of Congress. That means what? The Congress did not win in this year's election. But before that, since 1950-51 general elections till these fourth general elections, the Congress was able to win all the assembly elections till this date. So after this, if we go around the context of the elections, Pandit Nehru and Lal Bahadur Shastri, the two prime ministers, had died in quick succession. That means Pandit Nehru died in the year 1964 and Lal Bahadur Shastri expired in the year 1966. And the new prime minister, who was being seen as a political novice, had been in office for less than a year. And who took over as the prime minister after Lal Bahadur Shastri? Of course, Indira Gandhi. But what made a disadvantage for the Congress at that time was that Indira Gandhi was a very inexperienced candidate for the post of Prime Minister at that time, because she had been in office for less than a year and she don't had that much of experience working in the other portfolios or other departments during the regime of Jawaharlal Nehru also and Lal Bahadur Shastri also. So this inexperience had actually backfired the Congress. After that, the period was fraught with grave economic crisis resulting from successive failure of monsoons, widespread drought, decline in agricultural production, serious food shortage, depletion of foreign exchange reserves, drop in industrial production and exports, then combined with a sharp rise in military expenditure and diversion of resources from planning and economic development. So one thing was there, that inexperience of Indira Gandhi was there. Along with that, during that time only two wars were fought. During the 1962 Indo-China war was fought, and in the year 1965 Indo-Pak war was fought. That was between India and Pakistan. So due to this, there was a rise in military expenditure, because the military had to be strong at that time, and whatever the expenditure was required to make the military strong, that was done. Along with that, at that particular time only, there was a less rainfall, which resulted in widespread drought all over the country, and this drought itself led to the decline in agricultural production because no rainfall was there. According to that, drought spread all over in India, and after that it resulted in decline in agricultural production, and due to this again serious food shortage was there everyone in the country. And as a result, what happened, these are all interrelated to each other. Less rainfall, that means during the monsoons, if less rainfall will be there, then it will result in drought, then it will generally lead to decline in agricultural production, then after that it can lead to serious food shortage. So all these were going in the country at that particular moment, and military expenditure was also in a sharp rise. So all these were leading to what? A low economic development for a country at that particular moment only. So after this, the government of Indira Gandhi decided to devalue the Indian rupee in order to check the economic crisis of 1967. Consequently, $1 could be purchased for less than rupees 5 after devaluation, which cost more than 7 to trigger a price rise, and the people protested against essential commodities price rise and unemployment. It was struggled even by socialist and communist parties for great equality. That means what? When all these problems were going on, starting from widespread drought, less rainfall, then agricultural production was on a low, then food shortage was there. So all this has led to do what for the Indira Gandhi government? The Indira Gandhi government actually decided that to devalue their own Indian rupee. That means if you devalue your own Indian rupees, that is INR, that means if you exchange it, then the US dollar's value will go up. So the devaluing had caused what? The value of US dollar was to up by much extent. So due to that, there was price rise all over the country. Already the people were suffering from all these problems related to economic crisis, food shortage, and after that, due to the decision of the Indira Gandhi government to devalue their own Indian rupee, was putting the Indian people to purchase their own thing with a very much rise in price. Suppose they were buying something at rupees 5 at that moment, so after devaluation of Indian rupee, they were forced to buy that same thing for rupees 10, which was almost double for the people. So as a result, what happened? All the people all over the country started protesting against this particular government, and they demanded that equality should come and the government should work and think for the welfare and development of the people. So that struggle was started by the common people first, and after that many socialist and communist parties also started protesting along with the people. So for all this reason, you can say that the fourth general elections of 1967 was actually a landmark year in the Indian political and electoral history, because you can say that as the Congress was ruling the government and was getting a majority since 1950 to 1967, so in this fourth general elections, the Congress actually lost during this fourth general elections. So that's why, and the reason is clear, that whatever the things we have discussed, starting from inexperience of the Prime Minister, along with all the economic crisis and devaluation of Indian rupee, all this led to losing of the Congress in this fourth general elections of 1967. So in the next class, we will start discussing about the non-Congressism, and I hope that whatever the points we have discussed today related to the Congress system and the fourth general elections of 1967 is clear to you. So make a note down of all these important points in your copy. Thank you.